Now, one of Israel's most prolific technology investors is here to tell us how a connected ecosystem can maximize the impact of startup technologies. Please welcome the managing partner of NFX Guild, Gigi Levy.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys. First of all, what an amazing event. I'm so proud of this, and I'm so happy to be here. So what I want to tell you about today is basically what I learned over more than 14 years of investing about how to make sure that the startups I invest in have the most impact on their ecosystem, which is through something called network effect. And so after investing in more than 200 companies over the years, I basically understood that there's one question that I need to ask myself always, which is, where are my companies going to get their defensibility? And defensibility basically is what it means, a durable competitive advantage, which eventually means that the companies are going to be worth a lot more. So you can be good now, but somebody's going to come with better technology. How are you going to stay defensible? And basically, I found out that there's only 5 core defensibilities. The first one is IP, so the core technology. Some companies have that, but that's problematic because in the future, somebody may come with better technology. The second one is scale, like an Amazon or a Walmart, and that's great. But as you probably imagine, it's very difficult for a startup to start with scale. The next one is embedding, like an Oracle, where you put your product in and nobody can ever take it out. And that's also great. The problem is that nobody usually gives startups the ability to do that. And then there's brand, like a Coca-Cola or an Apple, and everybody would love to have that. But sadly, my startups never were able to convince everybody that they're the best in the world in day one. And so comes network effect. Network effect is the only defensibility that is great for startups. And it's great because it's available for startups from day one. It's great because this is the only one which is native to the digital world. And it's great because it's the foundation of all other defensibilities. And I just had to think about that. And so I started looking, and I found out that all the companies that I love, all the greatest companies out there, they're companies with network effects. And for those of you that are thinking, yes, this is probably only B2C, well, it's also B2B, and we can talk about that. So lots of these companies, and I just had to quantify what it means. What did I do? I took all the companies that exited at above $1 billion, public or private, since 1994, the beginning of the internet, and I asked myself, what % of the value came from network effect? And the outcome was amazing. What we found out is that more than 70% of the value created came from companies with network effects in them. Right, 70%, which makes sense given all the companies we saw. But the crazy thing is that when I looked at the thousands of companies that I look at every year, and I look at around 3,000 companies every year, I found out that only 20% of the companies had network effects in them. So 20% of the companies, 70% of the value, that's got to be a focus area. And to start talking about network effects, you've got to understand network effects are not viral effects. This is not when you get $1 to bring a customer, and not when Candy Crush forces you to send invites. Network effects are the real deal. This is when every user that comes into a platform brings value to the existing users and gets value from the users that are already there. This is the core of it, and it's based on 2 laws. One of them is, you probably know, the Metcalfe's law, and the other one is Reed law. We're not going to talk about them now, and what they give you is retention. And what they also give you is defensibility, and that gives you eventually value, which is what we all like. And if you ask yourself how defensible that is, then let's look at a bunch of companies, and I'm not going to say anything negative about anyone, but Craigslist is not the best interface in the world for those of you that used it. And it actually hasn't changed in quite a long time. But because of the network effect, because the network effect of a local e-commerce marketplace are so strong, it stays, and it stays strong, despite making every possible mistake. And so some of the others are like that as well. And I strongly believe that every business, every type of business in the future that's going to be successful is going to have network effects in its core. And what you need to ask yourself when you look at a business, you ask yourself, does user number 1 make it better? Does user number 2 make it better for user number 1? What about user number 1,000? What about user number 1 million? And as you see that that's the case, you understand that you have the network effect. And there are many types of them. There's the physical network effect, like the phone network, and then there's the personal utility one, like WhatsApp, and then there is the marketplace, like a Lyft, and then there's the market network, like the Honeybook, and we basically mapped 13 of them, and we put them on a map. It's called the network effects map. The strongest one is the one inside, and it becomes weaker as you go out. And we use that to basically analyze companies. So for example, when you look at Facebook, you can see where Facebook started, and you can see how over time, through acquisitions and through growing additional products, they moved from the core network to what's called the personal utility, which is stronger, and how to monetize now. They're adding also a marketplace on top of it, and so on. And this is how we look at companies. We do the same analysis for Uber and every new company we look at to understand what's going to be the most defensible, what's going to be the largest businesses that we can invest in. And so my recommendation to you as investors, whenever you look at a business, ask yourself, can I make it a network? Can I make it a multiplayer game versus a single-player game? And because whoever gets the network effects first gets the most value first and usually gets the best outcome. So I hope this is going to be beneficial for all of you. Thank you very much.